Mizkif's career might be cooked beyond belief.
Today I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me.
When allegations surface, you learn who your true friends are, and almost nobody is in Mizkif's corner. Instead, people are threatening to release even more damning information.
If other people don't tell the story, I will tell it. I did get permission from the person that was the most affected by it. I got the permission from that person last night to tell the story. I will tell the story why Miz was removed from OTK. If they don't want to, I'll do it. I'll respect their wishes and their privacy, but I will do it. And you'll see that it had nothing to do with this. And again, I apologize for not being able to drop everything immediately, but there's a lot of reasons for that. I apologize.
When digging through his past, you'll find examples of strained relationships, burnt bridges, and deeply toxic behavior. But the strangest thing of all is, his biggest controversy was proven in court to not be true. So does Mizkif deserve any sympathy? And is there a difference between Mizkif the persona and Mizkif the person? The strange thing is that Mizkif built his entire streaming career through making friends and building relationships. During his early years, he had a light bulb moment on how to get the attention of popular streamers.
I studied Twitch. So I didn't just come into Twitch saying I'm a viewer. I didn't watch Twitch for fun. I watched Twitch to study what they do and how I could do it better. So I watched Twitch for about 3 years, constantly learning what people do. I watched the top streamers, Soda Pop and Greek God X, Wreckful. I watched what they do and I said, how can I make that mine? How can I grow myself? And what I did is I have an idea. I was driving to Florida with my dad. I'm like, why don't I make documentaries on streamers? And what I'll do is I'll make it funny. I'll make it dumb, not as serious. And I'll send it to them because they need content. That's the one thing that streamers need is content all the time. And they love their egos being boosted.
These videos plucked them from obscurity and eventually caught the eye of Ice Poseidon, who hired Mizkif as a cameraman.
From there, I got invited to go on an RV trip with Ice Poseidon. I'm sure you guys are aware who he is. I went on an RV trip with him. And then I basically started on Twitch with 30 viewers. But I had all the connections. So I started just, going in the chats and talking. But I always knew I was more entertaining than most streamers. Most streamers are kind of introverted and scared. I knew I was better collabing. So I just used that.
As well as collaborating, Mizkif started his own group. Mizkif, Asmongold, S-Fan, Rich Campbell, and Tips Out formed the group OTK years later.
So OTK, the point of it was to basically create an org where we all make content together, and then we would one day sell the org, right? We wanted to sell OTK to a company where it's hey, you're in charge of this now, and we basically take a step back. At around this time of my age, I was I'm around, when we're all 30, 35, whatever, we take a step back. There's new young blood in the OTK sphere, and we just basically chill. Well, that failed miserably because the truth is, orgs in general, just no one wanted to buy it.
Despite Mizkif's reservations about OTK, it did increase his popularity as a streamer. Mizkif also got into a relationship with the streamer Maya, who was also used for content, and before they got together, she was a very, very, very small streamer with no more than a couple of hundred viewers at the maximum. And here's where things start to get a little strange.
Wait, you never told me there's these... Okay, pause. You do this to make me look bad.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, you didn't tell me that there's different settings.
There were different settings.
There's a plus and a minus
So
and a number.
you made him look bad, and now he looks like a fool in front of his shame.
Mizkif enjoyed teasing his girlfriend, like many guys do, but there would be some moments that raised a couple of eyebrows.
But do you not agree that you're lucky to date me?
Huh?
Do you think you're lucky to date me?
I guess. I mean, in some regards.
Cool.
And there's others.
The problem is this.
I don't know.
It's that you stream way less than me.
No, because your percentage of sponsored streams was higher than mine. So you can't keep saying that.
I literally can. The problem is this. You don't let me finish my sentences, okay?
Despite this strange behavior, there are people who are completely different off-stream than when they are on-stream. Ludwig, however, recalls him being exactly the same as his streaming personality.
I hung out with Mizkif at the Twitch party. Mizkif is the same offline as he is online. It's kind of weird in a way. I hung out with Mizkif, and he would start talking, and if you just didn't respond, he would keep talking. Forever.
There's another clip where Mizkif shared that he confided something personal with XQC, and this clip has a number of glaring red flags.
I was terrified. I couldn't understand what was happening. My viewers were dropping, Maya's were only going up. And there was a part of me that thought that I was going to be smaller than her, and I don't know if it was my ego or what, but I couldn't take it. I felt like and I was on the phone with Austin, and then XQC, I somehow got on a call with him, and he talked to me for hours, making me feel better about it. And he did. And I genuinely, after talking to him, felt a lot better. And I don't think he even realizes what he did for me in that call, but he really did help me a lot. I was nonstop. It's all I could think about is that she was beating me as a streamer and I was going to die. But then he reminded me that women have a cap and men just grow as streamers, and that's pretty much just it.
In a move that was probably for the best, Maya and Mizkif broke up in September of 2021. His peculiar comments with Maya made people look at him in a weird way, but could be brushed off as him just being funny. However, in September of 2022, a rumor circulated which made Mizkif hated by almost everyone. Around that time, Mizkif was concerned about the use of gambling on Twitch. The streamer Slicker was accused of scamming fans, friends, collaborators, and everyone around him, and he was doing this to fuel his own gambling addiction. In a now deleted tweet, Mizkif wrote, "Twitch, ban effing gambling for the love of God. I do not know where Slicker started gambling from, but for the love of effing God, could you just ban it already?" These comments faced pushback from streamers whose content heavily featured gambling. A heated argument ensued between Mizkif and Trainwreck, and during this back and forth, Trainwreck dropped this bombshell of a tweet that read, "Are you going to send Maya and Mitch to railroad and blackmail me like you did those girls to cover up all those essays, you effing scumbag piece of ish? You want to come at me and make ish up? Then you better be sure you don't live in a glass house, you insecure PUSSY." This tweet centered upon a streamer named Adriana Lee and Mizkif's friend and roommate Crazy Slick. Adriana later posted on Twitter her account of what transpired. She would write, "On January 19, 2020, I went to Novaru's 21st birthday party, and because I went with some of my closest friends, I believed it would be safe for me to enjoy myself. I got very intoxicated and ended up blacked out, leading the rest of this story what I've heard from multiple witnesses and how I feel about it. I was told that I was kissing my best friend Anna and another one of my close friends at the time consensually. Crazy Slick was following us around trying to kiss me, trying to kiss her, and at one point I was told that he and I ended up kissing. Then apparently I was passed out in one of the rooms at the party and he came into the room while I was unconscious. He came into the room a couple of times after being asked to leave me alone each time. In 2 of these instances, he touched my neck and chest saying he was just making sure I was alive, after being assured by my friends that I was okay as they were watching over me. Whether or not his intentions were out of genuine concern or not, I don't know. To be clear, he did not grape me or assault me, but his actions did make me uncomfortable." But Adriana later walked back on this statement. Speaking on Hassan Piker's stream, she claimed that she had been intimidated into downplaying what happened. Before writing this statement, Mizkif's girlfriend Maya and 2 other streamers were called to her door.
"I went upstairs to do my makeup. I did my makeup. And as I was doing my makeup, Barry, Maya, and Mitch walk in. I walked downstairs. They're like, 'So what happened? Like, let's do something about it.' And I was like, well, I was just going to write the tweet longer with Kyle, the person that was there. Like, I don't really see why you guys need to be here." And then from there, obviously I was, if we say something, we're going to have to kick Slick out. And I was like, okay. And it's like, well, if you do say something, just know, like, people are they're gonna come after you. I was like, okay, well, like, I'm still gonna be true to myself,
Then Adriana Lee shared why she thought Maya was there.
Miz sent her, and I found out later that Miz sent, quote, one of the more reputable girls of Twitch to make it look better for him.
Adriana claimed that this was a power move. Maya was a much more popular streamer, and there was a power dynamic which forced her to change what she wanted to say in the statement. Maya would later speak on what happened, but deny this sequence of events.
It was like that. And was there a power dynamic in that situation? Because I'm a bigger streamer, yes. And I feel bad about that. It wasn't my intention to introduce that to the situation. I wasn't trying to impose that on her. I wasn't trying to pressure her, or like force her into saying something. But did it naturally exist? Yes.
A lot of people now hated Mizkif, and the people who already hated Mizkif decided to take him down further. Ice Poseidon, who felt betrayed by Mizkif, tweeted, "Mizkif, I brought you into this world, and now I'm taking you out." In this tweet, he shared a series of messages from Mizkif where he used a slur beginning with F and a slur beginning with N, used with a hard R. I'm sure you can figure what comes from that. This story was not going away, primarily because of how far and wide it spread. A lot of people who Mizkif was previously friends with threw him under the bus here. In a now deleted video, Ludwig said that Mizkif had, quote, a lot to own up for. And XQC said that he already heard these allegations and was thrilled that it was now in public.
Bro, I knew this for months. What are you talking about? You think that it's not enjoyable or it's not delivering that it's out there?
But allegations is all they were. And all of these streamers would learn the valuable lesson that you shouldn't believe everything you read on the internet. Adriana Lee ended up taking Mizkif to court, and this was what happened next.
3 years ago, I got accused of covering up that basically my whole career up for a long time. That was then figured out by a judge and literally everybody within like 3 days that it was false, but it went so viral that everyone thinks I did it. And there's still people that think I did it. And there's still people who think that they talk about it and it ruined my life. I've been traumatized. I've been from it. I've been depressed. My brain up. I feel like my brain is cracked from it forever. And it ruined my image, my reputation. My friends stopped hanging out with me. People started ditching me. Streamer friends of mine backstabbed me and made videos or comments about it when they didn't know the truth. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
So in a court of law, Mizkif had been vindicated. This led to an apology from Ludwig, but this apology was not accepted.
Did you apologize to Miz? I did. I met with Miz in Texas. I apologized to him.
He did.
Made a correction video. I took down the video that he asked me to.
So here's the problem with this correction video that he made, and I'll say it right now. The problem with the correction video that he made, and we all know it's true, is the video is not a correction video. The title of the video should have been, I lied, and the video could have been about my entire thing. Instead, the video was smudged in between Rich Campbell getting accused of rape and Jay Schlatt leaving the org. So it was right in the middle, and no one really cares about watching the entire thing.
Mizkif also received an apology from XQC.
This is why I forgave XQC, is when I met up with XQC, he started crying. And XQC cried, and he was apologizing to me, saying how wrong he was for the whole situation. That's why. And I truly believe, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I think XQC was a shitbag back then. I think I was a shitbag back then in a lot of ways. But I think both of us have went through a lot of things over the last few years. I think XQC went through a lot with his divorce and everything else, whatever happened with him. I think he's a better person and changed. And I think he's much more grounded. So I think XQC changed a lot as a person.
Despite these apologies, the damage had already been done. You can see how his channel peaked in August of 2022 and hasn't recovered since. Mizkif also revealed that he had taken a step back from OTK.
Why did you leave OTK? Why did I leave OTK, chat? Why did I leave OTK? They just kicked out a few of the members that I loved. They really kicked out everyone I really enjoyed. At the end of the day, that's it. It's just everyone that left is the only people I cared about. You know how it is, boys.
But later clarified that he was still with them, but doing more solo stuff.
Yeah, I'm also still in OTK, you goons. Like, I'm still there. It's just, I'm like, I don't know, I want to do more solo stuff.
For many people, this whole debacle was a classic example of cancel culture where an innocent man's name was dragged through the mud. But there would be yet another twist in this tale.
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing. For the entirety of this year, I've attempted to separate myself from him and not talk about him at all, and not talk about this issue and just not make it a public thing. I always tried my best to keep this to myself, but like I said, I feel like it's gone to the point, which I'll explain later, that I feel like it just has to be done.
Emiru and Mizkif were dating, but began with an immediate red flag. Mizkif wanted to keep it a secret from everybody.
I moved in with him, I believe it was the end of 2021, because he offered. I was living alone at the time, and I was having stalker issues in Kansas, and I mean, you guys know like all the stuff that happened there. I ended up joining the org and everything. We did a lot of streams together, and I mean, a lot of people already know this, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. We started dating. We were in a relationship starting January 2022 after I joined OTK.
On this stream, Emiru shared multiple allegations about Mizkif. She claimed he was controlling, emotionally abusive, and at times violent.
He would throw bottles, like plastic bottles with liquid in it, not like glass bottles, at me, despite me telling him like I didn't like it and it scared me and I bruise very easily. He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even hit me in the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah, it's an accident. Like, you know, of course I'm not gonna think that, you know, he's going, like if we were driving in the car together, he would be going like 150 miles an hour. And like one time he even said like, well, now we're both gonna die, like threatening to kill both of us.
And just like with Maya, he was insanely jealous.
He never wanted to stream at the same time as me. Like we really avoided it. And to me at the time it made sense because, you know, I was like, well, of course, like, you know, we share a lot of community members. If we're live at separate times, we're both gonna perform better. You know, it makes sense. But yeah, we were never really live doing the same thing at the same time for a long time, with the exception of like things like events or sponsors or like, you know, just special things. For a very long time, and a lot of you guys probably noticed that I would only usually stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That was because of him.
And after they finally broke up, he tried to blackmail her.
At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me. Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I killed animals and that I killed my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him.
Almost immediately, Mizkif released a video defending almost every allegation. He explained why he made it a secret.
Talks of her joining OTK happened fast as well, and I knew that if we were potentially going to date, we'd have to keep it a secret. Nobody was allowed to know. Streamers as well were already starting to resent me, saying that it was a shitty thing that I moved Emmy in so fast and replaced Maya so quickly. If people found out we were dating, I could be hated by my peers and lose what I created in OTK.
And he also addressed the allegation that he was controlling.
At times. In regards to being controlling, I told her many things. I told her to dress older, to stop wearing pajamas, to stop talking about stalkers and schizos as a whole, stop talking about past relationships, and yes, I didn't want her to travel without me. I also said that I didn't want her to hang out with specific people. This is because I didn't want her to get hurt. I didn't want Emmy to get assaulted. I didn't want some man to do something to her when I'm not there, and I wanted to keep her safe. And I know with how my mental was and who I was back then that I didn't do everything right. I know I could have done better, and I'm sorry. I know I was controlling and I should have just ended the relationship, but I was so confused as a person. And I'm sorry I did it. I'm sorry things got to this point, man.
He then gave his side to the alleged violence and emotional abuse.
Began to increase. I was not perfect, and I reflect on those situations poor taste to myself. I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression. I one time did say I was going to kill myself during an argument, but Emmy did this as well numerous times. She would constantly say she's going to kill herself in arguments, and I have a picture where while I had a gun pointed at one of her stalkers who came to my house while she was in Kansas, she told me she was going to kill herself out of aggression of the situation while it was happening.
But Within this he said, she said dynamic, there was only one side getting support. Soon after Emiru came out with these allegations, another Twitch streamer named Quaco released a statement. Speaking about Mizkif, she said, "Our first hookup, I was so drunk I couldn't keep my eyes open. Originally, I was supposed to crash on the couch, but somehow ended up in his bed. I remembered all I wanted was to sleep, but he kept trying to kiss me and undress me. I finally let him have it because I was too dizzy to care anymore. He made sure to coach me to say that it was consensual afterwards and get the story straight because he was afraid of being canceled. He was so sweet at that time that we ended up having a consensual fling afterwards. After our fling ended, he started terrible rumors about me, telling people I was manipulative, bad, an awful human. He would tell people that I sliced myself during SCX and that I was crazy. I would hear the most awful rumors from people I had just met, even years later. He would continue talking about me long after we no longer interacted." Emily CC also tweeted, "For years on my Twitch stream, I had stated I had one bad experience with one Twitch streamer within my 9 years of streaming, and they're finally being exposed for being a terrible human." Everyone who knows Mizkif was not coming to his defense. They were doing the opposite. Ice Poseidon tweeted, "I've always said Twitch streamers have tons of skeletons in their closet. Wait until people find out about everyone else at the top and the corruption and weirdness behind the scenes." Mitch Jones, who was another individual that had gotten into it with Mizkif in the past, simply tweeted the word, "Damn." A streamer, Ariasaki, said that when the streamer Rekful took his own life, Mizkif said he did this because he was jealous of him, despite the fact that Rekful never talked about Mizkif. And Mizkif's roommate Russell spoke about the extreme lengths Mizkif went to hide this relationship.
"I remember Miz having a doggy door for a stream room. Emily peeked through one time and saw Simply. Yeah, but no, that's not the doggy door they're talking about. Apparently it was a doggy door from his actual bedroom to her bedroom. I had no idea."
This old clip from Bruce Drop 'Em Off also resurfaced.
"Miz can stop texting my phone. You are blocked. Don't ever come at me like that ever a day in your life. I did way more for you than I was even supposed to."
And perhaps the most damning of all was this clip of Maya talking about an unnamed crazy guy she used to date.
I did a guy that would go 100 miles an hour on the, we would fight in the car, which was never my decision. It just always happened. We just would fight in the car, and then he'd go 100. And I would literally beg him to slow down. I'd be so scared and I'd cry.
And bear in mind, while all this information was coming out of the woodwork, zero information was coming out about Emiru. So for the people forced to pick sides, this became an easy decision. In response to the drama, OTK released a statement. However, this seemed to contradict what Mizkif said about still being part of OTK. OTK fully supports its co-owner and sister Emiru, and we stand by her side and admire her strength in coming forward and sharing her story. While Mizkif was one of several founders of OTK, the organization terminated its relationship with him some time ago for reasons unrelated to the recent events, and he holds no stake in OTK or any of our other companies. Out of respect for those who have come forward, we will let their voices speak above ours. As far as they were concerned, Mizkif had no connection whatsoever with OTK, and Asmongold would later shed some further light on this issue. He had firmly taken Emiru's side.
Hey, everybody else, keep in mind, everybody else, nobody's backed him up on this. No other creator has backed him up on this. Nobody's taken his side. A lot of his own, even his old roommates, his old friends, his old girlfriends, nobody's taking his side.
And Asmongold pleaded with Mizkif's hardcore fans to stop defending him.
Listen, guys, I understand if you're a fan of Miz and you like Miz and you want to act like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, well, some of this stuff might not be true. Even if half of it's true, it's bad.
But Asmongold also shed some light about Mizkif and OTK. Without revealing too much, he said that Mizkif did not leave OTK, but he was removed.
If other people don't tell the story, I will tell it. I did get permission from one of the people, the person that was the most affected by it. I got the permission from that person last night to tell the story. I will tell the story why Miz was removed from OTK.
Starforge PCs is one of the most successful companies that is also an asset underneath OTK, which Mizkif said he is a part owner of. So I'm not quite sure what was in the contract to make him have to step away from that as well, but it's unlikely that he was removed from Starforge. Asmongold has yet to reveal what has happened, but should Mizkif ever recover from this controversy, which only time will tell, the reasons why he was removed from OTK still loom large in the background. And when this surfaces, it's hard to imagine who will come to his defense. And whilst some of the accusations may be overly exaggerated in Mizkif, it says a lot that there are absolutely no streamers that are jumping to his side.